Hello, everybody. This is Tony Young, and I'm surrounded by a wonderful group of individuals here who are going to talk about some important issues that are happening in our country and our world today. This is Rise San Diego, and Rise is really an organization that focuses on urban leadership. And we've been doing that for the last 6 years, supporting these emerging leaders, many of the ones that you see here on the panel today. And we try to support them and the work that they do. And many of them are doing the work that you see out on the street right now. The other thing that we do when it comes to the programming that we have at Rise is civic engagement. We really try to have these types of conversations throughout the year. We've been doing it for 6 years, and we try to make sure that those conversations are insightful and thoughtful and done in a way that helps bring some clarity to some of the issues. One of the other things that we do is our nonprofit partnerships, and we do that every month. And if you need some technical assistance in building your business or your nonprofit, you can just get on our website at risesandiego.org. Today, we're excited to have some amazing women who are going to talk about the work that is being done in regards to the movement that's happening throughout this country. We have Ebonāy Lee with Paving Great Futures, who has worked a lot in our community with youth and also in regards to the issues of the protests that you see. Christina Griffin-Jones, who's a community organizer and is doing all types of work in that vein. She's also a Howard graduate, which I'm very proud of. Tasha Williamson, who is everyone knows as a amazing community activist, a leader. She's been a leader in this community for 20 years or more, and I've worked with her for that long. I'm very proud to know her. And she also ran for mayor just recently and did a great job running for mayor. And Ariel Gibbs, who is a Rise Fellow and also is in the political arena, but also has organized protests here in the city of San Diego. Our moderator is Dr. Roxanne Kymaani. She is a Rise faculty member and owns a consulting company called Kymaani Catalyst Consulting. And she is going to lead this discussion and hear about the women who are actually making things happen right now in the city of San Diego. Dr. Kymaani?
Thank you so much, Tony, and thank you, beautiful, beautiful women, for being here, for joining us. Thank you to our participants, our audience, for taking time out of your day. This dialogue, I am so very excited about it. It's really to be able to highlight voices and give some recognition to the women that you see on the screen who are our Black women activists here in San Diego, who are representing the leadership for the movement, realizing that it's not about having one single person as the leader, as that front person, but it's important for us to be able to recognize, for these women to be seen, for them to be heard and recognized and celebrated for their activism here in San Diego. So I feel so honored to be here. Thank you all so very much. First, I want to be able to offer a poll question for our audience. Sorry, panelists, you won't be able to answer, but this gives us a sense of who is in our audience and how do they understand or make sense of what it is that we're working with here. The poll question, in terms of the perceptions around Black women and leadership in social justice and equity movements, what do you believe are the most important issues to address? Black women tend to be under greater scrutiny. Black women are viewed as being in support roles. Black women are expected to adhere to male-dominant standards, and Black women are criticized for rejecting charismatic leadership roles. And so the poll question will show up on your screen right now. I believe it's just within Zoom. I could be wrong for those of you who are joining us on Facebook Live. So just take a moment to answer that question for us. Just a few more seconds, please. Okay, let's see what it says. And we can work with that data. All right, 53% Black women tend to be under greater scrutiny. How do we want to work with that, lovely ladies? And all of you can turn your mics off because I want this to be a powerful dialogue. So feel free to join in. How have you felt under scrutiny in your role as an activist, in your role as a leader of this movement?
Okay, well, I'll go. So I feel like as Black women, we are kind of not supposed to make mistakes. If we do make a mistake, we are called a bitch. We have our addresses put on social media. We have racist groups that tend to, it's an open door to allow them to get to us. People just talk shit all the time, but I haven't seen many of them. Some of them have, but I haven't seen many of them putting their lives on the line, putting their families on the line. I don't see them, you know, everybody, it talks real big on Facebook, but when we say we gonna meet up, let's meet up, this is where I'm at, you know, don't nobody show up. Don't nobody show up. So, you know, I'm from LA, so we don't play those games. You know, and I'm nonviolent now, but I wasn't always. So, you know, people
I see Christina joining in with you on that, Tasha.
I believe in self-defense. So, I mean, but I believe in that verbally and physically. So, you know, I'm gonna defend I'm not perfect. I make mistakes. We make mistakes. We are human. We are, you know, we are women. We have emotions. We have struggles. We have all of that stuff. And so, you know, sometimes, you know, it's just like people want to come for you.
Yeah, we are robbed.
Good. You know, I think all of us are used to it. Go ahead, sister.
No, we are robbed of our humanity, you know, like all the time. I mean, you know, I'm lucky to be a part of a dope group called March for Black Women, San Diego as well. Shout out to Rise graduate Kelsey Daniels, Al. But like we put on a march, right? Without police, because we know that police bring violence all the time. And we know that in Black womanist theory, the fact is that Black women, we're the administrators of justice in our community. We feed everybody. We make sure that that the person who harms is held accountable, like all that, right? So we don't need police. We put that on 3 years in a row, and every year, right? Somebody is up in our inbox talking about how we forgot an apostrophe on an announcement, or what about, you know, what about you forgot to include this group of folks, and we know that if we was Black men doing this, oh baby, it would be millions of folks marching out there with us, because like folks have no problem lifting up and supporting Black men and not criticizing them. But like when it comes to something Black women and femmes are doing, oh, you better have all your I's dotted and your T's crossed. And that is because, like Kimberly Crenshaw talks about intersectionality, which like you can only use when you were talking about Black women and femmes. So like white folks going around talking about intersectionality. Oh, no, babe. That's not how it works. No. For us as Black women in films, it's harder for you if you are Black and trans woman. It's harder for you if you're a Black woman and have issues with access to healthcare. It's hard, like, and these things are compounded on us. So like, we carry all of that, and we are still held under so much scrutiny because folks don't consider like our Blackness and our womanness makes us void of needing protection or care.
100%. I feel everything that you're saying. Of course, I rock with Kimberly Crenshaw every day, all day. I am the intersectionality piece that she, you know, designed for us as Black women is so deep and it's so relevant that I just, you know, I'm very grateful for amazing Black women that can kind of actually put it into words what we're experiencing and what we're feeling on a consistent basis. And speaking of feelings, I feel like, you know, we as Black women aren't really able to feel because of the different stereotypes that are put on us. You know, I can't say anything without being labeled as an angry Black woman or, you know, being called a bitch or you know, things like that. I literally cannot speak out of, you know, hurt and anger from all of these traumatic things that are happening to our communities without being labeled as something. Yeah. Literally, I can't. And it's really exhausting. And I also feel like I'm unable to feel, you know, and relax and kind of like escape, or I'm unable to kind of take a mental health break. I feel very involved and in just everything all the time. And there's so much work to be done that I can't take a break. And, you know, as Black women, I feel like that's an expectation of us, that we're just supposed to keep going. And that we're supposed to be strong and we're supposed to keep holding the community. We're supposed to do X, Y, Z for everybody else. But then where do we come in? And, you know, how do we fit into that aspect? So I definitely feel like the scrutiny lies in, I can't feel. I can never feel for me.
Mm-hmm. Right. And thank you, all three of y'all, for putting everything that I wanted to say out there. I echo everything that you queens are saying right now. Definitely, you know, not losing my agency to have the right to feel, like you said, Ariel, and losing my agency, like, it's like, be strong, sis, hold us down, sis. And then when I am, it's like, hold on, sis, you being a little too strong. You holding us down a little too much. And I'm like, so what am I supposed to do? You want me to be docile and, you know what I'm saying, submissive and follow your leadership, but then you want to tell me to pick up what's left and carry that too, but don't exert that too much. And if I'm too passionate or I'm speaking with too much aggression, you know, it just, it's hard to get my message across or what it is that I really want to say. And another thing as a Black woman, and I know y'all can feel me on this, is being the token. A lot of times I have to explain. I'm always the go-to to explain, you know, well, what does this mean? Well, how do I be a better ally? How do I do this? And I'm like, well, go read it. Go Google it. Like, I have token fatigue. Thank you. Shout out to my sister Sarteka for teaching me about token fatigue. And that's a lot of what we carry, is just being that Black woman that we're expected to know everything. We're expected to hold that, you know, that space for everybody and kind of hold our personal feelings or whatever we're going through last. So yeah, I echo definitely what all y'all are saying, and I agree with that.
I appreciate all of that, and I feel it. I feel it, in addition to the notions of stop being aggressive, or my favorite is the abrasive, you know, where your leadership shows up, or your confidence shows up as abrasive. Like, I am here, I am educated, I'm experienced, I have something to say. You need to be listening.
Yeah, and Dr. Roxanne, like, my anger is valid.
Yes.
My anger is so valid. I've been in spaces where I've been asked to leave because a player cried, right? Because my tears were too much. And it's like, how can someone live? How can someone thrive in that type of limbo? that we're in as Black women, Black women in films, where we can't feel. Like, how unjust? Go ahead, Dr. Roxanne.
Or feel I'm just listening, and if you are going to feel, if you could do it in this particular way so that other people feel safe.
Right.
What is your experience? How have you handled that expectation? Because, you know, this notion of, I often think of it in the concept of, it's not about us creating a safe space for other people. It's that we have to feel safe enough to even be. And even that is dangerous.
Preach. Yes. Yes. I think it's of like a power that, like, I think we bring, right, is like that. It's a stereotype, but it's like we speak about the elephant that's in the room. And those of you, you know, those other panelists, y'all know how dangerous and how scary that can be when you come into a room and you're like, there's a lot of tension in here. Why? Let's dig it up. Let's talk about it. Let's reveal it, because I feel like, as like Black women and femmes, we have to go through so much. Like it's like we have to be in therapy while providing therapy for the world. And like, also, like, I'm a huge advocate for like therapy. Like, I got some support with someone who helped me advocate for myself to find a Black therapist at Kaiser. And I like called Kaiser and they were like, there are no Black women therapists. And they were like, oh no, let me check. I was like, if I did not have the support system, I would have hung up the phone. But I think for me, a lot has been, and it's so unfortunate, it has been me teaching all the spaces I'm in how to treat me, and not teaching them like through modeling it. I mean, y'all, I'm legitimately printing out stuff, you feel me, and sharing emails, you feel me, with folks, teaching them how to lead a Black woman, how to support a Black woman, and how to care for a Black woman. And it's so exhausting and so sad, but that's for me, that has been the really only way of being able to be me in these spaces. And one of the parts too, I don't know if we're gonna like get to that other part. A lot of people didn't kind of vote for the one where emotionally you don't fit the box that people have for you as a Black woman. I'm a crybaby. I am a crybaby. I embrace it. That is who I am. That is how I process things. That is where my fury comes from, and my fire and my love for my people comes from. But people are really mean to you when you are in a Black body and you cry. They hate it so much. They don't understand it. They want you to get tough. When you like, no, my tears mean multiple things. So that's what it's been like for me, right? Explicitly teaching in these spaces, in all spaces I'm in, and I wish I didn't have to do that.
Thank you, Christina. Other responses, and I want to add to the question that you asked, and then also provided a very profound answer, which I'm sure all of the panelists, including myself, can join you on completely. But what does support look like for Black women in the movement in San Diego or nationally, in your experience?
I think that for me, support looks like forgiveness. It looks like love. It looks like hope. You know what I'm saying? And when we need support, like, and everybody don't raise their hand, Christina.
You know what it is.
I'm just saying, when we need somebody to just listen, and everybody too busy. When we need somebody to just say, girl, I know your shoulder still hurt because you got dragged by the police. And I'm gonna send you some medicine. You know, that doesn't always come. People want us to tell them when we need stuff. Like, and it's almost like we have to beg for help, right? We have to beg for comforting. We have to beg because people see us as so strong that they forget that we're human beings. They forget that we're women. Like, they forget, you know, that we hurt, that we need to be shielded sometimes. Sometimes we just need to be in a silent space so we can just hear our inner thoughts. For me, I've learned to not give a damn. Like, my feelings is absolutely my feelings. My walk is absolutely my walk. My talk is absolutely my talk. And maybe I don't feel like turning the cheek today. Maybe I feel like going and standing in front of a police officer's house and letting him know that we're not playing no games, right? And so people who can't understand that, that's okay. But you're not supposed to understand my walk because it's my shoes that I'm feeling, not yours. And, you know, I applaud people like Christina who lay it all in front of them so they got all that stuff, but that's not my responsibility. My responsibility is not for you to understand all the damage that you did to me and my people with the damn lie of saying that this was the land of the free. That you not only fed to us, but you fed to indigenous, to Latinx, Chicanos, what you fed to Pan-Asians, what you fed to everybody who came here looking for that lion-ass dream.
Yes, get them.
And so I'm just, it's not me no more. I don't have that in my heart. So I'm not gonna be dainty and I'm not tripping off of women who are. I'm not gonna be nice around you and your whiteness. I'm gonna be who I am. This is Tasha. I'm unapologetic. I'm not afraid because we've been damaged. And even while we was protesting, y'all released a white officer who sexually assaulted 18 plus women who was sentenced to 5 years and did 3 months. So if you want me to sit at the table, you free all my people doing 5 years right now.
Everybody, yes.
Every last one.
So I have a question in relation to what you all are talking about right now. Do panelists feel they have support from other Black women or the old guard of female activism?
No, I don't. I feel that I'm too loud, I'm too bold, I'm too strong, I'm too out there. You know, I want to tell you that I was hella offended when I heard Lorena Gonzalez Fletcher say the words that she said when she was a panelist about one of our prominent leaders and how she told her to stand out there and be out there. But behind the scenes, I was told that I was too much. So that stung. That's done.
I also feel like from literally the opposite end of the spectrum, from my perspective, I feel a little bit of support, but not full support because I come from the more passive side. And I'm the type of person that, you know, I feel that all roles of this movement are 100% needed. We need people on the front lines, and we need people doing the work, you know, behind the scenes, whatever is your role, you need to play your part to the best of your ability. However, I have been told specifically that, you know, my approach is too, you know, like calm and I'm not angry enough and I'm not pushing enough for the things that our community needs. But, you know, I don't take offense to that. Like I said, you know, every role is 100% needed. We need everybody. We need everybody to make the noise and to make the changes that we need. But, you know, I have felt that tension between other Black women, you know, saying that, you know, my approach isn't strong enough or isn't like pushing enough. So I feel that, but literally on the opposite spectrum there.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go after you.
I just wanted to say, like, I want our women to be whoever they are in their feet and they walk. I don't want nobody to tell us who to be, what to be, how to look, how to dress, because white people and white America been doing that to us, and all you doing is assimilating with them, and I don't need that. But what I do need is in this movement that we doing right now, I need all of us to be one mighty fist, and I don't need nobody praying and negotiating with the police that continue to slap us in their face with all of the negligence and rogue officers that they don't correct and the officers they release after they've damaged all of us. We is not praying, we is not negotiating, and we are not kneeling with the police, kneeling. And they giving us
that part.
Right.
Tasha, it's a police officer walking around with no edges right now. Cause you just Tasha, you just it's Kevin Faulkner. Kevin Faulkner walking around with no edges. You know he'd be trying to do his little baby hair thing on his picture.
Stop it.
He got no edges. Tasha, you better do it. You better say that.
Right.
Ebonāy?
Yeah, I just wanted to jump in and just say that, like Tasha, I've also been told that my approach is too much. I've been told that, like, I don't filter myself when I'm like on my live videos or whatever, sharing from the front line, and how much I've heard that from Black women. You know what I mean? Or the fact that, like Tasha said, I refuse to kneel. I don't want to march with the police. I don't want any of that. I want to defund them and get them out of our community. I don't care about, you know what I mean, making sure that they know that we are not aggressive. That part right there, like, you better fear me. So for me, I feel the exact same way, especially when I got a lot of kickback from Black women who are like, this is not how we're supposed to act. What do you mean? That's not how you're going to act, but this is how I act. This is how I show up. So, yeah, thank you for speaking on that, Tasha, because that's exactly how I feel. I have a lot of support, but there's a lot of women who don't support me. Black, brown, you know, white, all different kinds of women. But yeah.
I just want to say that, like, from both of y'all's perspective, I know that y'all are Black women, powerful Black women in the communities doing the work. You're on the front lines. You're pushing everything that you value and that is important to you. And I really want to say that I know that y'all personalities are not in that way that you will ever feel discouraged, but I really hope that people and their opinions and what they keep saying and, you know, the progress that we're seeing or not seeing, I really hope that that doesn't discourage you from still being the woman on the front lines and being exactly who you want to be, because I feel like that's super important. And I don't have a problem with, you know, me personally, I don't have the problem with Black women wanting to be on the front lines. I wish I could be on the front lines with y'all. I promise you.
But Ariel, you a district representative. You were up in some spaces, hearing some things. You hold those things with you, you know. So we got to make sure we send in some Palo Santo, some sage your way, and some anointing oil all of our ways, because it's hard out here if you are a Black woman not saying, oh yeah, it's cool. Like being on the front lines with Tasha and with Ebonāy, like being like, no police, y'all not gonna make it through this picket line. You know, like, and then hearing members of your community talk like crazy about you. And then also, Ariel, being on your end, where you're in all these spaces where you're hearing people talk about our community in dollars and cents, and then to come be in those meetings being like, no, you're not going to talk about my community like this. And then people who aren't in those spaces saying you ain't doing enough, they can kick rocks. You know, for me, and I think because I'm 31, right? Like I have so much support. I have so much support from like, you know, like, Tasha will call me after I do something crazy. And then Tasha will be like, I know you ain't gonna apologize, but just letting you know, I'm proud of you. Like, and then I can go on Facebook Live and see Ebonāy and what is it? And Sartika, like just spit like, and also I think cause I'm 31, I'm like an elder youngin, right? Like, cause like, it's like the young folk, like, cause like Sartika hit me up in my inbox and gave me a whole video message on something they were feeling, and I appreciated it. But it's like I think I'm super fortunate because I have that support, right? Like, I have the support to wild out, and then they'd be like, okay, Christina, you was tripping a little bit, but we with you though. We with you though. And like Tasha said, right, we need that grace. And you know, like, I think explicitly talking about something now, right? And please, y'all, if I'm wrong about this, come back on this video and drag me later. But like around like Council Member Monica Montgomery, right? And how people are like coming for her when it was hella other elected officials that voted too, you know, and the fact that we are a part of a strong mayor and our mayor has a reputation of coming for people and, you know, they funding. And also like, if I'm on the wrong side of it, like do it, let's have it, let's do it. But I feel very supported.
Can I switch a bit, just not switch, but kind of expand the topic in relation to what support looks like for Black women in this movement. And, you know, what we noticed happen and what really sprung it alive, in my opinion, and what I've been seeing a lot is what happened to George Floyd. Realizing, you know, his murder was completely tragic, and Breonna Taylor was tragically murdered not weeks before. And so I'm curious, as women in this, like, why is it so hard for society to say her name, to say our names, to keep them present? You know, you spoke to it early on, Christina, that people rise for the Black man, but the Black woman is not recognized in that same capacity.
Yeah, I think also, or Christina, if you want to go.
No, you go.
Yeah, girl, because I just want to say that I think that George Floyd, we need to stop using white people's terms. It wasn't a tragedy. It was a murder. It was horrific. It was a lynching. It was what white people do. And that white man sat just like probably his grandpappy or his great grandpappy sat and put ropes on a tree. You know, that's how he laid on his neck for 9 minutes. That's what he did. That's not a tragedy. He did that on purpose. A tragedy is when an accident happens. That wasn't no accident. Mm-hmm. So we need to correct that in our language when we talk about that. As far as women, of course, America don't look at Black women the way they look at Black men, because they used to rape us. We used to make their babies. We was objects. We was property. And America still looks at us like that. It is the Black women who are rising and have been rising and have been getting into leadership roles, who have been behind the scenes, who have been mamas that raised up leaders. It is because of them that we are starting to now shine, because we are tired. Our young people are tired, and our young people is burning shit down just like them elders when they was young was burning shit down. People forget that in 1960, shit was on fire too.
True.
They
want us to be peaceful, then you tell them to be peaceful.
Well, and the notion to expand on that, and to expand even just on that little piece about the peaceful protest, you can take a knee but you can't protest. Don't protest that way. Or, you know, you can't be in the streets because we don't like that protest. And so it's even that conflict of what is considered the right way.
Lord, people are even critique, like I remember on one of my jobs, I got arrested because I was too loud on the bullhorn, right? Like it was like somebody with a one of those volume things, and they were like, "Oh, you went over." So like it does speak again to that wild place, this wild reality that Black women and femmes are in, as far as, you know, you can't be too this way or too that way. And I think it's important to lift up, right, misogyny and patriarchy, like the fact that even in our death, because we are women or femmes, and by women, right, and femmes, it's an inclusive term to include folks in the queer and trans and non-binary community. I mean, just your death is erased because a man's death is more important than yours. And that was like the reason why, you know, Black women created, I think it was Kimberly Crenshaw who created the hashtag Say Her Name. It was because Black women and femmes, you know, Black trans women, we were being killed by like our loved ones, being killed by the state, right? We're talking about police, prisons, jails, all law enforcement, and nobody remembered our names. And that's heartbreaking and unfortunate. And it's an important thing for people to know, because a lot of folks are using, you know, the hashtags right now. You saying hashtag say his name or say their name is the equivalent to saying all lives matter. So being understanding that it's when we say Black Lives Matter, yeah, it's a movement that was created by 3 queer women, but patriarchy, you know, centered Black men in that, and that the hashtag say her name is extra to make sure that Black women, including Black trans women who were killed and hurt, their names are not forgotten about. And you know, it's important to use that hashtag for Black women who and femmes who are not here anymore, and not for Black women who are still here. Like, it broke my heart when I saw some folks putting next to Miss Leslie's name, say her name. I was like, whoa, Miss Leslie's still here. Don't do that, you know? And so it's important that our pain is not erased in our death. And it also was important to remember, like, you know, spaces like this being created. Like, I mean, folks really need to understand the history that is on this panel right now. You know, like Tasha, the work that Tasha has done in National City, and like how she was holding it down with us in El Cajon. And like the work that Ebonāy and so many other dope ass Black women and femmes that was holding it down in El Cajon.
Well, use this space to speak to it. Give our audience more of that story.
Yeah, it's many of us, y'all. Like, I wrote. Oh, go ahead, Ebonāy, because I wrote this.
You know what? So before this panel, I wrote some Black local women that I have personally been on the front line with, or that I have organized with, or whatever. And so I'd like to say, speak to them. And give them their flowers while we still here. So Sarteka Nefer, Layla Aziz, Christina Griffin-Jones, Tasha Williamson, Sun God, Truth, Kay Black, Devin Jones, Roomby, Tegan Daniels, Diamond Brandon, Kim Moore, Jenny Peterson, Channing Moreland, Ariel Gibbs, just to name a few. San Diego women that are out here right now, that have taught me, sorry, Christina, I know you taught me a lot. Sometimes you may not have wanted to, but thank you, that have taught me and have turned me into the activist that I currently am now. So just thank you. That's I wanted to speak to a lot of these spaces that all of these women held for me at different times, during Alfred Alongo, after Alfred Alongo. Just these women are powerful, and a lot of times we're overlooked because of whatever reason. You know, San Diego is very small, and a lot of times past will precede, you know, what you currently got going on right now, which just makes a lot of people take away your authenticity or try to take away your agency. And so remembering that these women have had my back and plenty more. And so I apologize if I did not mention you, but these just are women that have directly affected my life, Black women in this city. It's just powerful. So I women and
Ebonāy, like, to give you your flowers too. Like, if y'all check out Ebonay's Facebook, Ebonāy has this dope profile picture. And I remember when that picture was fucking taken, El Cajon was so hot. Like, the temperature was so freaking hot. And that city was so, it was like the city was afraid. So they like closed down the malls and shit. They closed down the what is the Jack in the Box? And we would like march, and we would be in community with one another. And, you know, like Ebonāy, you just for like a continued, you know, force. And also the other women that were part of like Alongo Village, y'all kept all of us just so encouraged. Like, I know Truth is in DC now, but like Truth, like I remember, and you know, all y'all, right? Like I would be so scared sometimes because I didn't know what the police were gonna do to our folks. And like I would grab one of y'all hands, right? True remembers when we did like the little sit-in in the street, and and I was like, True, what do we
she's
do?
here. Truth is here. She's watching you right now. She's
Okay,
in the
okay.
chat box.
I was like, True, what do we do? And True was like, what we always do, hold it down. And I was like, and it was like anytime I was nervous or scared, like I would like reach out and like like Tasha would be there, Ebonāy, you would be there, True, Sarteka. If I could like lift up some names too, like of like history, right? The Kabahi River Collective, Marsha P. Johnson, Fannie Lou Hamer, Cece McDonald, Kelsey Daniels, Naisha Green Washington, Ms. Vanessa Green, Imani, Syra, Adrian, my mom, Yvonne, and all the folks you lifted up to, Ebonāy, like 100 times over. Y'all, like, oh my gosh, it's so much history. And for folks who are hitting the streets for the first time in your activism, know that you are a part of, and you should seek us out to hear our stories, because you're a part of a legacy of Black woman led resistance here in San Diego. And no matter how it's looked and whatever flaws you may see in it, know that you could like approach any of us and talk to us about the holes or whatever that you see in it. And we're gonna invite you to help us and help build with us too. So yeah.
Hey now.
Yeah.
And honestly, just sitting here and kind of, I'm taking all this in, and I'm actually, I came straight from Chicago to San Diego about 3 years ago now at this point. And it's funny, the picture was just taken off the screen, but we had the photos of all the women that we're remembering as well, on top of the women that have been leading, the movement. And it just observing and hearing everything that you all are saying about the amazing Black women that we have in San Diego, I was, drawn to the photo of, say her name, Rakia Boyd from Chicago. She died in 2012. And, my take on all of that is, we haven't had this push for the say her name or that recognition, both in leadership and within where we fit in the Black Lives movement or Black Lives Matter movement, period. And coming from like my sociological perspective, I'm thinking, okay, well, we face that patriarchy and almost like an internalized misogyny theory within ourselves, that we just very deeply inside want to put men first, or we want to uphold that patriarchy. And I'm still trying to navigate that myself, because as the leader of the protest on 31st, I did find myself saying a lot, say his name, George Floyd, and we said much less, say her name, Breonna Taylor, or honored all the other Black lives that have been lost, Black women that have been lost in, as we continue to fight for equality, equity, really. But, I'm still trying to wrap my mind around that in itself as we try to uphold all of our Black women and everything that they do, but also the lives that have been lost in all of this as well.
And Ariel, we all are still like learning together. Like, yeah, I don't want you to beat yourself up, because like, I keep my little past on my timeline, because 2009 Christina was hella problematic. Oh, 2009 Christina. But I like to keep that on there, because like, it just shows the growth and just what we capable of. And like,
can you
just
speak a little to what was problematic, just so for those in the audience who may not have a fuller understanding, that they can get a better sense of your meaning?
Well, just the fact that I was, I didn't know words like, what it meant for someone to identify as trans, non-binary, and I was so, and like you talk, when you talk about that and internalize, I was so like, this is the right way to be a Black woman only. You know, I had so many hangups about, you know, me, you know, I'm realized now, right, I'm considered an empath, but I just thought that I got my feelings hurt easily, right? And I was weak because I wasn't the Black woman that white folks were projecting onto me. And it took me a long, you know, Ariel, it took me a long time to be like, look, like Black women can be we can be so many iterations, you know, from the person who threw the first brick in the Pride riots, right? Like Marsha P. Johnson to Grace Jones to like Tony Braxton to like, yeah, Stonewall, thank you, throwing the first brick at Stonewall. We're able to be so many things. And so in 2009, like, yeah, y'all, if you got time, look me up on Facebook, look back into baby girl's comments. I was obsessed, and I didn't even know it at the time. I was obsessed with living a life that was what whiteness showed me Blackness was. And like, I'm so appreciative of like Black women on this panel, Black women and femmes who are listening now, and like, you know, Black men in our community too, that really encouraged me to learn about myself, learn about my people, and also like question, right, and push back against things that didn't find at home in me. So yeah, like Alexia, don't trip. It's gonna be more stuff. It's gonna be more stuff you learn. And I'm gonna find probably in a few weeks something I do is like problematic. And I'm gonna need to go into my community and apologize and make well that harm. But the fact is that like and like to pivot into like transformative justice conversations, like we all are always gonna mess up. It's about like coming back and that restoration and healing that harm and also learning from each other. So Alexia, I got to make sure I give you my contact so that you feel supported and stuff too.
Yes, I love that, Black woman. I love you.
And also, I'm sorry, Ariel, I was calling you Alexia. I'm terrible. I'm so sorry. I'm terrible. I was like, I can't
You had it right in the beginning, and it was all good. I didn't even notice. She was just saying beautiful words.
That's her alter ego, y'all. That's
right.
I was like, I can't
can be.
I was like, I can't see your name because just the speaker view. I was like, where did the name go?
Hey, I just want to also say that, you know, we all have a past. We all have a past, and we all, you know, can have a greater future, right? But one of the things for me that I've just come to is that, you know, it's when I say I don't care, is that I'm not going to internalize your issues with me, right? Because I'm not going to be sick for you. I'm not going to hold on to your damage for you, because so many of our elders were raised up, don't tell, right? Let that go, let this slide. And they unleashed not just Black men who were damaging on us, but white society as well. And it wasn't really their fault. It's because this is what was ingrained in them. And so I had to just learn how, and a lot of it was Christina, I had to learn how to forgive and be at peace, right? Because I was so filled with rage that I wanted to attack so many of our own people for the damage that had been done to me. Yeah. But even within our own group, we're gonna have to start checking some folks that just allow men to be men and damage all these women, right? That sit in leadership and say nothing. They silent.
And one of the questions from Truth,
don't have to check that.
One of the questions from Truth that you are answering right now, Tasha, how can we continue to build the sisterly bond and respect as we all grow in this, in spite of our differences and misunderstandings?
And you know, so sometimes we're not gonna have no bond, right? It's some women, I just have a reality. Like, I'm not gonna be no sister with you because you is damaging to sisterhood. You know, somebody who will let a man be rogue and sexually harass women after women after women, and then just say, "Oh, I knew he was like that." That's problematic for all women. And so for me, there's some people who are lost in that problematic state of like, I'm not gonna say nothing, I'm not gonna get involved, I'm not gonna do this. And then our daughters become victims, right? And our sisters become victims. And so I'm just at a place where not everybody is gonna be in our sisterhood, you know, and that's an unfortunate thing. I would love for everybody to be there, but everybody Black ain't gonna be doing what we do. Everybody Black ain't gonna understand what we do.
Kinfolk ain't kinfolk.
Trump got
all kinfolk ain't kinfolk.
Like,
right.
You know, so, you know, and people not understanding racism, or, you know, oh, you can just get a job and, you know, don't bother the police and the police won't bother you. That shit don't work.
Right.
Right. So, you know, we try and build as much as we can, but there's going to be a few that just don't recognize it. They don't see it. They don't live it. And even though they live it, they just rather turn the other cheek. They turn the other cheek group.
Right.
So within reference to the building, what are the ways that we can still work with it and still try to get to a place of understanding regardless of the differences? And I totally understand.
I think that's but I mean, I just want to put that out there because a lot of people on here may think that everybody gonna be building with us. Some people tear down the building, right?
They sure do.
They create a slanted foundation, so when that earthquake rolled through, the whole building crumbled.
The whole thing.
So, but to start it, like, we all got to be on the same page. There definitely has to be healing. Christina talks about it all the time. Like, we got to heal. Me and Christina have had to heal. Yeah. Like, we solid. I will come if Christina tell me to let's go. We going. Yeah. But me and Christine, because we like a family. And in a family, everybody don't get along. Yeah. So don't be tripping when activists and leaders and all this, they don't get along. Okay, well, we just don't get along. But I bet you if you roll up on him, I'm going to come to you. I bet you if you roll up on her, I'm going to be right there. I might not be next to her.
That part.
I don't really like her. But you ain't got to just disrespect her like that.
Because y'all, Tasha will like roll up from like an alley or something.
Quick, fast.
I'll be like, Tasha, you was here the whole time? I was. Like, look, you got Tasha be like this. I've been here the whole time. You be like, no.
But I mean, honestly, we got to get on the same page. We need to know what each other can do, what our capability is. Because, like, I don't want to be at war with somebody who's supposed to be typing, right? Because you ain't about to do nothing. We about to get hurt. Yeah. So when I go protest,
what you're connecting it to is still finding a sisterhood and trying to understand where somebody else is coming from, what their own experience is, and to try to hold place for all of those pieces within the context of this movement. Because, you know, you said it, we're not all going to be on the same page, but we're coming in from a different perspective. We're not all going to be able to work, you know, on the front lines, on the picket lines, holding a sign. Some of us do have to be at home, particularly right now with many folks, including myself, who are immunocompromised and can't be out there. That's dangerous for my health. And I'd rather be able to live and help from doing things like this. So how do we hold space for that and create the acknowledgement? And again, at the same time, realizing that not everybody's
I think that we're already doing that. Honestly, Dr. Kymaani, I think we're already doing that.
Yeah, and so I'm asking, how are we doing?
So we're like creating spaces where people, what can you do? Oh, you can get the phone line for people who get arrested. Great. You can do the Excel spreadsheet. Boom. Oh, you can go get the people. Boom. You need to strategically know where everybody can fit in. Those who can't be outside, we got a job for you. Those who can be outside, we got a job for you. Those who got a car, we got a job for you. Those who can do t-shirts, who can do signs, we got a job for you. Those who can be in legislators talking about changing policy, changing law. Hey, we put you in your job, right? So those people who are police officers or whatever, then you need to check your officer. You might need to whip their ass in the back of the police station. I mean, I don't know, like you do us, so that they won't make you look so bad. But there's a place for everybody, but everybody got to be willing to follow, to know when to follow, and to know when to lead. And I think that's the issue. I know that when my sisters did the car caravan, I was in follow mode. And when somebody said, hey, we need help with something, it was like, okay, jump in and help. Not because Tasha Williamson is a leader and I got to lead. We got to take that off the table. This wasn't my time to lead. It was my time to follow and help whenever I was asked. And people got to be ready to do that. And if you ain't ready to do that, you put your ego in your way. And then that's when opposition comes. Because everybody can't lead all the time. I'm not going to lead all the time. Sometimes I need to be in the back. Right. And I need to be okay with that. That's a break.
Right.
I want to turn this to you, Ariel, for the work that you talked about in leading a protest that happened recently. What was that experience like for you in a collective movement?
Honestly, it was surreal. I wasn't even expecting, alluding back to some of the questions that we were asked in the beginning, the poll. The part that I thought was going to get the most response was that Black women are always seen as the supporting role. And so, my experience of trying to lead something, I definitely kind of felt supported and trusted in some ways, but then also in other ways, not looked at as a leader because there were other individuals that were supporting me so much that they seemed like the leader. And so it was kind of like a difficult situation for me because I was trying to figure out, okay, what is the best way to move, but also kind of trusting myself, but having a lot of different opinions and perspectives around me kind of made me feel less trust for myself, made me second guess and question, okay, like, am I doing the right thing? Is this the right move? Things like that. So, and we've been kind of talking about that, right? Is how does support look for you? And for me, that support is the trust. So I need the people who are following me to trust that, I'm going to do a good job at leading, as Black women have been doing for a lot of different things in our society right now. And I feel like that experience really opened my eyes of the almost lack of trust or the seeing that we are the supporting roles and not the leaders of certain things. And we definitely got to address that as Black women and as a community, because the Black men gotta feel it too.
Thank you. Ebonāy, I know you were on the front lines and just a couple of weeks ago as well. What was your experience?
I guess I had different experiences at different points in the most recent protest. I know that I did attend La Mesa, and my experience is one that it's pretty much always like to be in the front. And definitely pushing all lines and kind of giving the police or whomever is in front of us trying to block us from, having expressing our constitutional right. I definitely, I don't know, that's where I'm most supported. But being other protests where like I was in Ariel test, which was extremely peaceful, until the point where, it wasn't anymore, which wasn't Ariel's fault at all, but definitely playing more of the role of giving the rest of what they want, as far as getting on the freeway and doing things like that and leading people into different situations. And I had more of that opportunity during the last protest. But my experience, I don't know, it's always different. I'm always on the front line though. So I'm out there just, giving the police the blues or giving, whoever our opposition is the blues. And so a lot of times I miss a lot of the things on the outside. And that's why people like Ariel, Christina, Tasha, just everybody are important, that everybody is playing their role in their position, most definitely. But I've seen all kind of things. I've been treated all kind of ways on the front line. A lot of times respect though. I get a lot of that. just because I'm not going to move, I'm not going to bend, and I'm out there, you know, with a purpose. And that purpose is to cause, you know, a lot of uneasiness, not for our people, but definitely for the opposition. And so that's been my experience during a lot of these situations. But I know I've also been, you know, learning and growing, right? So there were certain times where I was like really expressive and really upset that knees were being taken and that I felt like we were compromising with the police. And I had to check myself sometimes, like, okay, I'm getting really upset, but like, I'm not really leading this. Like, let me just fall back. And when it came to the point where we had to get on the freeway, because that's what the people wanted, I was one of the first ones on the freeway, because I knew that, okay, like this is where it's going now. Not to take away from anybody else's movement or the thoughts that they had, or, hey, we want to do it this way, but more or less like, well, I know that this is the momentum that and the progression and the way that it's going now. And so therefore I need to take a hold of this and lead the people this way. And I think that in a lot of these movements, a lot of people want to focus on, well, who's the leader? Who is the one organizer, when there's multiple leaders and there's multiple things going on at once? So you take your direction always from a Black person, and I like to say a Black woman, because in every single protest that I've been to, every single uprising, every single demonstration, a Black woman has led it. I don't follow the leadership of any other type of person, and Black man, but mostly it's Black women who organize and who make things happen. And so I'm always under their leadership. And yeah, I don't know, my experience has just been up and down. I know in El Cajon City, I was a new activist. Actually, El Cajon City and Alfred Alongo's death saved my life and gave me purpose. And I found that my purpose was to be out here and be an activist in my community. And but I was always following the leadership of somebody. Christina taught me a lot. You know, I remember being out there and I'm on the front line and I want to film everything that's going on. And she's like, stop filming our pain, sis. Like, don't catch that right there. And it checked me. And it was something that I carried with me, and something that I tell people all the time now, like, hey, get the camera on my face. Don't film that part. You know what I mean? Or I remember being out there with Tasha, and oh man, it was like one of the last nights that we were in El Cajon City, and they had came out, Tasha, with them tanks, and they came out with the guns, and they standing on top of the tanks, and it's Black women that are surrounding me, right? And we standing there holding the line, like, you know, what's happening? I remember Tasha, you know, because I was up in one of the police face, and I'm really giving it to him, and she started to hear on the walkie-talkies or whatever that they were looking for somebody that fit my description, and she's letting us know, like, y'all need to go. Y'all out here, y'all put y'all work in, but y'all need to dip from this part right here and allow, you know, our more seasoned activists handle this part, because, you know, they were going to get us out of the situation safely. So definitely being under the leadership of many Black women and following, you know, what they got to say has helped me to be who I am, and has really shaped my experience on the front line.
And Ebonāy,
And I just want to,
go ahead.
I was just going to be real quick and say, thank you for leading everybody to the 5, because that is exactly what we wanted to do. And that is exactly how we harness all the attention and all the momentum in the movement. So yes, and that's to my whole point. We need everybody in their role and playing their part to the strongest that they can. And I really do appreciate you. There was no harness. I'm not offended in any type of way. It wasn't my protest. This wasn't on my behalf. We protested for Black lives. We're protesting for a movement. So I appreciate you and everything that you did in getting us on the 5, and everything that you did even after that. So I just wanted to bring that to the table here.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, is it cool if I go first?
Nope. It's your turn.
Like, I want to lift up too, like your ability to be like whenever like all of us are like, I remember specifically when we was like in front, like in very front, like with the police, and I was like, oh my God, they so close. And I was thinking to myself, I was so nervous and scared. And I saw you with your little hat on, you was like, I was like, we're gonna be all right. We're gonna do it. But Ebonāy, like that's I'm so like, just know that even when you in spaces where you learn and you giving us permission to be brave and to be like, it's gonna be okay. And like, that's I think another part too, kind of in the how to support Black women as well. Like, I think amongst us, like knowing that, and how do we build like this camaraderie, this sisterhood, it's like honoring one another's talents, like everybody has been saying, right? Everyone's magic. Honoring when we don't know yet what our magic is, and how that can cultivate into some weird behavior, right? Like why you think, like, and then also honoring when we need to step back and take a break, and like, and honoring when we like need to call each other in to get like help, like therapy, help, like support, and how people externally can support like Black women. Like you look on all of our pages, you'll be able to find our Venmos and PayPals. Y'all needs to cut us checks, because like what we do, it ain't easy. And like in the instance, a lot of people don't know, employers in San Diego County, they do retaliate on us. Like a lot of folks, I remember when El Cajon was happening, a lot of folks got fired. When National City was happening, a lot of folks got fired. And these are Black women and femmes who the camera love getting our face. So it ain't about us being secret with our employers about our activities, but folks are literally like losing their jobs because they want to make sure to fight for this, right? A lot of us, right? I'll speak from I'm in a role right now where I can do this and my job not be impacted, but that's not the reality. So it's like you see these Black women, non-Black folks, non-Black women, you see these Black women out here, put a 20 or a 50 or 100 in baby girl's hand and be like, this is for you. Or like Venmo, PayPal, and also invest in infrastructures that hire Black women to be able to service our community and to do this work. Because go ahead.
I'm just saying, when they hire them, I'm not down in anyone.
No,
I'm frustrated when we get hired and we receptionists, but we got the skills to be directors. So, if you don't disrespect us in our skill set.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, I just want to say, we're creating, like, all of us are doing different events, and we're going to continue to do those events until they meet our demands. I just want to say that, they have a war type tactical response to us.
Mm-hmm.
We need to have a movement type tactical response to them. And so there should not be one event that just happens in one place or moves in one place, because that's how all our people have been injured, right? So when we move, we need to be able to do exactly what you all did, what you women did, right? And move us like swans into the other direction. So we move them as well. And so we have to think about things like this, because they treated us as if we were in a war zone. While we was unarmed, while we had no weapons, while we were screaming, hands up, don't shoot, while we were asking them not to kill us, and the sheriffs and La Mesa and SDPD and Chula Vista, all these places opened fire on us. They opened fire on us. And so we will not forget that. And they cannot hand us bones when they need to be handing us the whole damn meal.
That part.
Oh, mindful of the time, I want to get to some of the questions from our panel, and there's some questions that I'm gonna just try to combine into one, and it's in relation to our Black men. Black women on my screen, what do you need from Black men in this movement? And I want to start with you, Ebonāy, and then go to Christina, Ariel, and Tasha.
I need compassion from my brothers. You need to I would like them to understand that every time I'm not going to show up as what they feel is my best self, and just be compassionate and readily available, that if I need you in whatever capacity, and you've told me that you are willing to be that in that capacity, that you are actually that, and that you will hold space for me to feel. I need my brothers to understand that I'm gonna feel, and that sometimes I'm gonna cuss everybody out, and sometimes I'm gonna cry, and sometimes I'm gonna come in, I'm gonna be like, hey, because I might be, feeling that way. but allow me that space to be me, and don't attempt to tell me, okay, this is how you're supposed to be, sis. I need you to act this way, sis. Hey, I don't want you, you know, just stop trying to tell me, you know, who I am, and otherize who I am naturally as a Black woman. And love and respect and honor, you know, all of those things that I need from my brothers, but most definitely just compassion and understanding, and just know that I am human like you, and that I hold a lot of spaces. I wear multiple different hats, you know, and that at this moment, I might not be your divine goddess empress that you need me to be. And I might be, you know what I'm saying, out there on that front line, giving the police the blues and cussing them out, but love me either, you know, whomever I am, love me the same. Don't allow your love to fluctuate or, you know, diminish because I am not who you want me to be in that moment. I'm growing, I'm learning, I'm healing. And so respect that. And yeah, I think if I could get that from my brothers, it'll just make things a little bit smoother.
Thank you. Christina?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Everything Ebonāy said, we also want y'all, you know, want y'all to be healing too, right? We need y'all to go to therapy like we going to therapy. Also, like, we need y'all help in calling in and calling out your brothers, you know, other brothers, you know, like when, you know, if we, you know, like I have a saying, right? Like in my whole beautiful Blackness, I'm a little ratchet, little righteous, little revolutionary, little religious. I'm all these things, right? And like calling in your bros when they want to down a Black woman because she may have a lot of partners, or you want to down a Black woman because she's a lesbian. You want to down a Black woman because she's trans. Like, I need y'all to get those words to be able to break down and break up and shake up that patriarchy that we don't hear as Black women in y'all barbershops when y'all riding in the car together. You know, we need y'all to continue to be our partners in tearing down this terrible anti-Black patriarchal system. So yeah, that's what I want. That's what I need.
Beautifully put. For real. Everything that both Ebonāy and Christina said, but also I think the thing that I need is support. And what that looks like for me is I haven't slept in I don't know how long. I have really bad insomnia right now, just from everything that's going on and everything that people are asking me and tasking me with and all these things. So, you know, I might need a Starbucks cup, you know, for the day. I might need a meal I haven't eaten in 2 weeks like that, you know. In general, give me some coffee from Cafe X. Shout out to Kia Pollard. Go support that Black.
Yes.
Okay. So, you know, and just the little things and making sure that I'm being held and supported. And like Ebonāy said, I'm not going to always be the person that you expect. I've been really, really needing to decompress and chill for the weekend. I don't need you come in to figure out what I'm doing. Let's go do this. Let me complain about this. No, let me be me. Let me take my wig off. Let me undo my braids and let me kick back and be myself, period. Also, I think I need trust from Black men. Trust that we know that, you know, what this means. We know what this movement is. We've been doing this. This is who we are. We're going to support you. This is our nurturing role. We are here for y'all. And I just need that trust from Black men that we're going to be able to lead in the right direction. It may not always look the way that you feel that it needs to look at the time, but I need you to trust the process and trust that we got this. We're women. We're literally undefeated. We are the best. Okay. So I just want y'all to know that and trust and support and all the things that Ebonāy and Christina said too.
I think my sisters said it the most. You know, I love them and I support everything that they said. For me, as far as Black men, you know, don't look at my strength as a negative. My strength will help us build an empire. And so for me, I feel like when Black men say you're too strong, it's almost like saying, you know, you too Black, you too much to exist in the body that you're in. And so, and it's hurtful, right? So I just want men to know that when women are strong in their own right, because strength don't always look the same. Strength is not about power and muscle and being able to stand in front of, you know, people who want to kill you. You know, strength is also endurance. It's resilience. It's being able to go to work when you know your white people in that office can't stand you and you still going, right? Because you want to make a difference for the people that come in. It's being a doctor when you know you up against a wall. You know, only Black doctor can experience the Black experience and help white doctors understand what they do to damage Black people who need health care and are dying. So your strength looks so different. But when you are an activist in that strength, it's always looked at as negative. And I just want our brothers, you know, to not look at that, and our sisters too, you know, and to understand that like we need them when we need them, right? Sometimes we just need them to be right there next to us to make us feel like I got you, you know. And sometimes we need them to step up in front and be like, you ain't about to do this to her, right? Sometimes we need that. Sometimes we don't. Sometimes we just need them in a space. Sometimes we need them to make sure the kids is good, right? You know, and sometimes we need them to roll with us, right?
Yeah.
And all of you are receiving lots and lots of love in the chat box if you haven't had an opportunity to look at that.
Yeah.
Dr. Kymaani, I was going to say this, the chat box, the questions,
Yeah.
all those things. And, you know, I just, you know, you guys, every single one of you, I have a history with, and you guys know how much I really do appreciate you. And the fact that you came on and you gave something to San Diego, and there are people from all over the country who are watching this, by the way. You gave them something that I think, I'm guessing that they maybe never have really seen before. Not like this. This was really amazing to hear, and I learned a lot just by listening. And so I want to say thank you to all of you all. I'll thank you in the streets also. You guys, I'll see you at some point somewhere. But I really do appreciate you. Please take care of yourself, and, you know, and just make sure that you're safe and in all ways, right? All the things that you talked about. And Dr. Roxanne Kymaani, the person that you were interviewed a couple of days ago, early this morning, called you something totally different. But Dr. Kymaani, I just, how graceful and thoughtful you were in allowing these individuals to be able to bring out and let them bring out the real issues out here that we learned a lot about. So we want to say thank you to you. We appreciate you. And you guys are, I mean, I can use the term, you're warriors, right? You guys are warriors, and that's what you have done. So on behalf of Rise San Diego, thank you for this. And if you see this, we say we stand with Black women, and we're going to continue to do that, and hopefully we can invite you back. Before you all go, I want to say that Rise is going to do a few other things coming up this month. Program design and development. We do our nonprofit and small business trainings. One of the things we're going to focus on is program design and development. That's on Thursday, June 18th. And we'll do one on leadership resilience on the 22nd. Just get on Rise San Diego's website and you'll be able to enroll. It does sell out pretty quickly, but you should try to get on as quickly as you can and get the best trainers we can find to provide this type of information. So with that, you all, I'll see you all later. And the last thing I want you to do is there's a poll question. Please let us know overall, how would you rate the virtual event? And just if you can answer this question, the panelists can't answer it, but answer the question on how you would rate this overall event. It'll tell us how, you know, how we're doing. And then we'll use that moving forward. So with that, thank you guys. You all have a wonderful day, and we appreciate you very much. God bless you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Guys. Love you guys. Thank you. Sorry I
Thank
messed up
you,
your
queens.
name. Dr. Roxanne.
Warrior goddess queens. Thank you for being. Just thank you. And
Thank you for this space, ladies. Thank you just for this space and this conversation. It's so needed. We need to have more.
Yeah.
Definitely,
So
definitely.
much more.
Thank you,
I can
Rise
feel the
Now,
love and
for
the
creating
warmth.
it.
Yeah, thank you,
Absolutely.
Rise. Thanks, everybody. See y'all in them streets.
Y'all know where to find me.
Front line.